Hey guys, what's up? This is Arth. Today we have the entirety of rank 4 for you. Now, these bosses start to get a little bit harder here. There's not going to be any 20-second long fights anymore. So this is where things start to get interesting and where some people start to have their first problems, I think. This very first fight, it's against like a Yeti. All this fight is it's an enraged timer fight. He's got a lot of health, and we haven't seen it yet in these videos, in my videos, but there's a 2-minute hard enrage on each one of these fights. So you die immediately if you don't kill the boss in 2 minutes. So this boss is almost entirely about can you kill him in time. He doesn't do much damage at all. Now you'll see here in a second, I don't know quite why it happened. It might have been because I feigned death and he kind of glitched out with his aggro table, but after charging once, which is the only mechanic you have to avoid, you do want to avoid the charge, but he just stands here for the rest of the fight and lets me DPS him. So I'm not quite sure why this happened, but again, it wasn't going to be a hard fight anyway, as long as you're avoiding the charges, which are really easy to avoid. It's really just about can you output enough DPS to kill him on time. So I think if you're doing anywhere above about 50k, you're going to be able to kill him. So it shouldn't be too hard for most hunters, and just work on your rotation, spec, glyphs, gear a little bit if you're not quite at that level. But otherwise, not a hard fight. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about today briefly was I'm trying to watch only fights that I've done already, not ones that are coming up, because I like to sort of discover the fights on my own rather than having seen them. So I've seen some fights that are coming up, but there's a lot that are going to be brand new to me. But one of the things that I've noticed is a lot of the hunters that seem to struggle are the ones who basically they're not killing the bosses in time and they have to resort to kiting, or their pet dies, or they're having to deal with these mechanics. Whereas, at least with the earlier level fights, ranks 1 through 4, the hunters that seem to do really well are the ones who are able to burst DPS down the boss to the point where they're not really dealing with a whole lot of the mechanics. So from everything that I've seen and read and tested on my own, Beastmaster is doing the best DPS overall, and certainly the best burst DPS. So I know marksman can provide a little bit extra self heals, but I think at least for a fair majority of these fights that I've gone through so far, you're going to be handicapping yourself a little bit if you're any other spec besides Beast Mastery, because it's going to do so much better DPS. This fight here is one of those. I've seen people struggle with her, but she was dead relatively quickly, so I got to avoid it. One thing you'll see here at the end, my pet's doing fine, but she's about to summon ads, and once the ads come out, my pet starts taking damage in a hurry. So I noticed this, and immediately, you'll see here, I cast multi-shot, and then I cast glaive toss to get the ads onto me. So I do a little bit of kiting, give my pet a little bit of breathing room, so only the boss is on him. Now, it was near the end of the fight and she was almost dead anyway, so I probably would have beaten the fight even if my pet had died. But it's that sort of awareness where your pet's going to be able to take a lot more damage than you are, so you want most of the aggro on your pet, but it doesn't mean you can't take some of the pressure off occasionally by pulling some aggro or kiting ads or the boss around. So it was a cleaner kill, I think, because I did that. It would have been a kill regardless, but a cleaner kill because of that. This next fight is my second death. I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't seen, I forget the boss's name, but it's the Illusionist, something the Illusionist. And I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't know the mechanics of the fight. And I'm actually glad that I wiped this first time, because it was a bad attempt and it gave me the chance to make some adjustments that I think are very beneficial for this fight. So here's the boss, but off to the side you see an ad. and off to the left you see another ad. So she starts summoning a lot of ads in a hurry. Now each one of these ads only has 1 health point, so they die really quickly, so it's easy to kill them, but she summons a lot of them, so that's the struggle. So I wasn't sure where to stand, what to do, whether I should DPS the boss or focus on ads, and you can see there's a ton of ads up now and I'm about to die, so there's really nothing I could do at that point. And so you'll see in this next attempt I only do 2 things, but they're incredibly important things, and they turn it into an easy fight. So it goes from a wipe to an easy kill with just a couple small adjustments. So the first thing I do is I come here to the corner, because all of the ads are going to be in front of me. It's going to be easier to see them and easier to target them. Second, you'll notice that I have a trap launcher up, and as soon as an ad comes up, put a trap on it. This trap's all you need to kill multiple ads in a given area. You're not going to kill all of them, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is just maintaining the number of ads. So then I click readiness a little bit later on and get another trap out in a different area to kill more ads. So that takes out 4 or 5 ads there in the back of the room. And here you see the boss is dead and I've barely taken any damage. So just those 2 little things there. Stand in the corner to make sure they're all in front of you and get a couple traps out. Those 2 things alone turned it into an easy fight. So that would be my suggestion for that fight. If you manage your traps well, you shouldn't have too much problem. This last fight, you'll see in a second, it's not about the boss at all. It's entirely about movement. The boss's name is Deacon, and you'll see here in a second, the floor goes nuts with electricity that moves around. You basically just want to ignore the boss. As long as you're maintaining some DPS on him, that's going to be okay. The important thing is to avoid this electricity at all costs. So there it is, and you can see it moves in different chunks across the room, so you need some anticipation skills to see when there's going to be openings in the electricity and when you can avoid it. Now I do get hit by the lightning here in a second, right here. You can eat it a couple times, but you can see it took down about 2/3 of my health, and I was in it for less than a second. So you can't get hit by it too many times, more than once or twice, and you're gonna be dead. I was just letting my pet tank the boss in the center. His health was going down, but he seemed to be okay. So I did one-shot that fight, but it was kind of sloppy DPS wise, but that's because I was almost entirely focused on movement instead of my DPS. Like Serpent Sting dropped off and I forgot to reapply it, so there were certain things that I could have done better to kill him faster, but really that fight's gonna be about movement. So, and I've seen a lot of people watch that fight from above, watch other people do the fight and say, oh, that guy's an idiot, he's running into electricity, why didn't he do this? This fight's easy. It's a lot harder when you're down there. So move your camera angle out, maybe adjust your camera angle a little bit so that it's easier to see the whole floor, and get ready to move. But it is a lot more difficult when you're down there in it. That's the one thing I'll say, because I've been one of those people standing up there going, oh, this guy's an idiot, he's getting hit by lightning left and right. But it's a lot trickier once you get down there. So this is rank 4. Good luck in your own hunting. Hope you're able to clear these easily, and I'll be back with rank 5 soon.